Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get us going, and maybe more of the class can join as we go along. This actually should be fairly brief. The portfolio classes are not terribly involved, and there's no lecture component to it, so like your other courses. So there isn't a ton of content to cover. But what I wanted to do today is just give you an overview of the portfolio process and give you an idea of what to expect this month and how that connects with what will be coming up down the road, because all of the portfolio classes are interconnected. And here's something just to illustrate that point. This is a sort of timeline of your degree program. And if you look at your curriculum, you will notice that there are portfolio classes distributed every 3 or 4 months throughout the program, and there's 5 in total. And these are there to serve as milestones. So we view these as sort of checkpoints along the road where we can gauge your progress and make sure that you're achieving the learning objectives that we set out for you to gain from the program. And then from your perspective, they are also opportunities to apply the various skills you are gaining in a sort of a more cohesive way outside of your regular classrooms and synthesize some of those various skills so that they all work together. Much like I think you're both in my aesthetics class this month, how I was saying in that class, it's foundational skills that are going to be used throughout all the classes coming up. So the portfolio classes is built with that in mind, that all these various classes aren't independent of each other. They work in conjunction with one another. And so you can apply all the skills as a whole at the portfolio classes. The idea of the portfolio classes is that each class will focus on a specific project, sometimes 2 projects, but for the most part there will be one single project for that month. And you will spend the 4 weeks developing that single project. So ideally, by the time you get to the end of the month, you will have had a chance to really refine your work and work out any wrinkles and any kind of issues so that you end up with something that's pretty good quality work that ideally shows your best effort and can serve as a showpiece in your professional portfolio, in your academic portfolio. My goal is to get an idea of your progress, of course, but for your purposes, this is something that you might potentially show potential employers on graduation and use to represent yourself as a media professional. And looking at this process that I have on the board, this kind of gives an idea of the breakdown. Portfolio Project 1 is at the very beginning, and so you really haven't had a chance to get into too many of the media communications courses yet. And a lot of it is those foundational courses, so you haven't developed too in-depth of skill set yet, at least from our point of view. You might bring some skills in with you, but we can't count on that as far as these projects go. We can only count on what we have given you so far. So at Portfolio Project 1, you're just getting started. So we're really focusing on, again, foundation setting. We're going to explore your personal goals as a media professional and your interests in the media world. And then you're going to pick a portfolio subject. And we'll talk more about that in depth next week. But this is going to be some entity. It could be a company, a cause, or a nonprofit organization, or even an individual celebrity or public figure that you're your media projects will focus on. So that just provides your subject matter. And that will stay consistent throughout the program. So you'll have this common focus for all of these portfolio projects. So when you get to the end, it'll look like a cohesive effort, like a media package. So it's an important decision, and that's going to be the big focus for this class, for Portfolio Project 1, is choosing that subject and really fleshing out the variables as far as what it is, what it represents, who its audience is, what media needs it has based on its specific goals and nature. And when you have that selected, then you'll be ready as you move forward to create assets related to that subject. So in Portfolio Project 2, in about 3 or 4 months, you're going to create a style guide for that subject. And this is very similar to what you're doing in aesthetics, and it draws from those skills. So you're going to create like a brand personality, brand color palette, typography, and so forth, and later on an actual logo design. And that's in Portfolio Project 3. The logo design comes into play, and you'll create digital video assets at that point. So it could be a commercial or a documentary or a public service announcement or something else that's related, again, back to that subject that you're choosing this month. And then moving forward, you get a little more freedom to choose the nature of the project that you work on in Portfolio 4. And in Portfolio 5, it all comes together and you present it with a portfolio website. Are there any questions so far? Is this making sense? Okay, so no questions, Kevin? Or is it not making sense? Okay. The idea with the portfolio also is that we give enough flexibility for you to explore your own interests. So while, at least in the first few portfolio classes, we do prescribe a specific project for you to work on, I want to give enough flexibility for you to customize that to suit your particular focus. So for example, when you get to Portfolio Project 3, you'll create a digital audio or digital video project, but the nature of that video isn't set in stone. You get to pick that. So if you're interested in journalism, you could do a journalistic piece, like a news report or an investigative journalism piece that makes use of video. Because what I'm looking for is your ability to edit and refine video and audio. The content is up to you. And then in Portfolio 4, it's completely wide open what kind of project you work on, because I know from experience that my media communications students have such a diversity of interests as far as their professional goals that you really can't define one single thing. You're not just marketing people or advertising people or journalism or all these various other aspects. It's a huge mix of these things. So no way I could give a one-size-fits-all program. And that is the reason why, starting off, we're going to focus on exploring your professional goals. And you may have done some similar activities early on, maybe in digital literacy or some of the early classes, and I'm not sure. But hopefully by this point, you have an idea of the direction you're headed with your career in media, what you want to focus on. And this activity is going to allow you to kind of crystallize that idea. Okay, and Herberto, it sounds like, are you already in the industry? from the sounds of things? Oh, okay, you work at Florida Virtual. Very neat. Um, so what we'll do with this first assignment is kind of you'll talk about your dream job, we'll say, in the media world. It doesn't have to be the media world if your dream job is outside of media, but since you are media communications majors, that would make sense. And what it is about that job that appeals to you as far as the work, um, your inspirations, and also figures either in or out of the industry that inspire you as well. The idea being that if you know your direction, that's going to influence the kind of projects you want to work on, which in turn will influence the kind of subject you want to pick. Because if you do want to focus on more marketing type material, then you want to pick a subject that needs good marketing. If you want to be focused on journalism, then you'll want a subject that allows opportunity for reporting and so forth. So this will allow you a chance to crystallize some of that. I know that some people come in not really knowing the direction that they're going, and that's okay. You can even say that, but it's not unusual for you to discover new aspects of media that you weren't really aware of as you move through the program, things like transmedia, content marketing, some of these emerging paradigms that aren't really widely known yet. But so this isn't necessarily set in stone, but just giving you a more clear vision of where you're headed. Because again, that will influence the direction you take with your projects from then on. So do you guys have an idea of I know, Heriberto, you're working at Florida Virtual School, but what aspect of media do you work with there? Are you a teacher or a designer? Oh, okay. Um, Actually, that's, as it happens, that's my background as well. I did instructional design for many years for Lockheed Martin Corporation and some military contractors here in Orlando. And very good. And Gavin, you're interested in becoming a radio personality, or are you already in that position? Oh, wow. Okay. So you CEO your own radio station. So, okay. So you guys are already kind of pretty well on your way as far as your media careers go. Excellent. And radio, of course, is not something that's specifically covered in the MCWS curriculum, although aspects of it will certainly be relevant. In particular, developing your on-air personality, whether it's on video or if it's on radio, that is something that is very much a skill unto itself. And so that would be a good thing to um, focus on with your portfolio projects as well. And again, I'll get into more of the specifics of the portfolio subjects next week, since that'll be our focus then. But you can pick nearly anything you want, including your own business. Say, Kevin, you could use your own radio station as your portfolio subject, because then it's serving double duty. It's fulfilling your academic requirements, but also helping you develop your business and your brand identity as well. So certainly are open to that, and even your own personal brand identity as a professional. Very good. Are there any thoughts or questions so far? This is really kind of my overview of the process, and but I want to make sure that I have expressed it clearly enough. Okay. So looking ahead, this should be, I know this is probably a second class this month for you guys. You're taking, might be the first time you're taking 2 back-to-back, but it should be fairly light as far as the requirements for this course. You are going to do your exploring professional interests, selecting a portfolio subject, then defining the target audience, and defining the media needs. So it's basically 1 assignment per week, and just really getting a good, clear direction up front before you dive in more seriously into the portfolio process. Okay, well, so that's my overview, and if you guys feel like you have a good grasp on what's happening and where you're headed with this, then I'm happy to let you go, but I do want to make sure that you're all clear. You too. Thank you very much.